In this video, we're going to take a look at the gut shot. This is a common scenario in deer hunting or all of big game hunting. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So we're going to help you identify the gut shot, what your arrow is going to look like, and how you need to proceed afterwards to recover your animal. I'm wildlife artist Ryan Kirby, and I've worked really hard with some of the top whitetail biologists in the country to make sure that my art and the information here is presented accurately. All this art comes from my whitetail physiology and anatomy print available at ryankirby.com. Today we're going to unpack one of the toughest shots on an animal, and that's the gut shot. On a gut shot, you're going to watch your arrow enter the animal further back than you like. It's a gut-wrenching feeling, but it happens, and what you do next is critical to the recovery of the animal. On a gut shot, the deer is going to react very quickly, probably sprinting away for a short distance and then stopping, arching its back, and tail flicking back and forth, and it's going to walk away. Here's what your arrow looks like on a gut shot. The blood will be brownish red or even green with partially digested food and other stomach matter. There's going to be a rank odor from the stomach and or the intestines. And there's also not a lot of blood in this area of the body cavity. Deer carry a lot of fat in their midsection. So the arrow is going to be wiped fairly clean as it passes through the fat and hide on the exit wound. So do not expect a lot of blood on this shot. Gut shots are really tough, and the blood trail is going to be very sparse. Oftentimes, if you on a steep angling shot with a low exit wound, the intestines can even plug the exit hole, which even further limits the blood. There may not be any blood at all. So you got to be really patient here. You got to notice the buck's direction of travel, mark the last time you watched him, and back out. You want to get down, do not spook that deer. He's likely going to bed and expire in his first bed within 100 to 200 yards. So if you're patient and you don't spook that deer, your chances of recovery are very good. If you bump him out of that first bed though, the chances of recovery go down dramatically because of the lack of blood. You really don't know which direction they're going to travel. So back out, pay attention, and if you have one available, call a tracking dog. We've seen some great stuff with them being able to recover deer that are gut shot or have iffy hits. So if you have one of those, highly recommend it, but be patient and stick with it. You'll likely find your deer. So a big question a lot of people have is meat spoilage on a gut shot deer or deer shot back further in the abdomen. And that is an issue. You know, obviously you want to recover the deer as quickly as possible. You don't want to waste anything. And that is an issue for people, you know, early in the season or in the deep south when you're hunting in hotter temperatures. One good thing to think about though is that the animal has not expired yet. So, you know, if you shoot a deer in the morning or even in the evening, it probably is still going to be alive throughout the evening. And then those cool temperatures are going to cool everything off. And so if you go back in the next morning, you could still recover that deer early when it's still cool. The biggest thing you got to realize though is that deer will likely expire in its first bed. And if you go in too far and too early and bump that deer out of its first bed, that deer may run a long ways and it's probably not going to bleed a lot, and it's probably going to bump out of that bed before you get close enough to see it. So you may just hear a crashing in the woods and not find any more blood or see a direction of travel, and you probably are not going to recover that deer in time for the meat. So if you bump it out of that first bed, you're not going to recover anything regardless. So your best bet is to make sure that animal is expired before you go in to try to recover it. So that's a look at the gut shot. Remember, you can see all of my art and information on these prints only available at ryankirby.com. In the next video, we're going to take a look at some of the non-vital hits, which can include muscle and bone, and then some tracking tips as well. So stay tuned for that.